Thank you very much. So, so anyway, our speaker is going to leave because he has certain engagements. Koi speaker si magi thadok payada bo piski thabak khara leibana maram oidana ngang basi loiraga koi chatke haibagi request ma khak leibanina oren kari gumba ma sat kanda lengsen biriba mayam dagi audience dagi question gumba interaction gumba tawning ba leiraga di matam phangaroi damnina aina ngasai thamjagi ba rule dagi kitang exceptional oina haidok saraga ai kitang khanana bagi minute manga taragumagi khanana bagi matam dang laujage aduna hojik ngangbi gi ba wafam do mayam gi discussion gi damakta open tawjare. So I invite questions and particularly questions, not observations, from the audience. Lairagadi hoji haibi gi baduda hangbiro maru aina hojik sigi topic sida koina khanari si anoba national education policies da tawri si anganwadi singa aduga school singa integrate tawba anganwadi ga school ga si tongan leiba nataba sem complex da leina ba onaba aduga anganwadi gi angang singsina primary school gi oza sing sadra singa su unna khonaraga interact tawraga makoi gi environment to henna paktok sauthok haleraga akoina foundational oiba magi literacy do phangakpa matamda through formal and the informal means da angang sing do da henna khangan na bagi wakhallonda national education policy 2020 da yawdoni aduna practical oiba difficulties kharasu haibi kare aduna. Now I invite questions please from the audience.
Hello sir. I give me M Jadumani sir. I Azad Higher Secondary Principal of Germany. Sardine Hangenisi, I quickly Kaida, Angalwadi, Samnabada, I give Pong upon the assembly, Kairao, Pitra Lighting Bilekani Basa. Angalwadi Center, see Anigumba, Lighting Bilekai, Mayaleka, the Nanga Layaba. School to Sar, LP School Sulayaba. Nasi Habada, I quickly social welfare is Hatagi, Adumba, School Punjalu. Angalwadi gi hujiki angang sing si LP school use bis de punjan bagi pom ta taja da ba masi punna notice thopi ga dori bra natraga thop ho ra bra lo jere sa
oja ai kan tu thank you very much oja kaino ne akoina koi national education policy se masi shisu koi gi tungmang toraga koi gi school paghanji mission to ganda koina school trying to katang lokat pune koi aham bi kano sing biasida moditi yahode adubo akoi the live national education policy di bharat pumbu gena pulap to kunina machita di yaw kani haibse thajaba thamje.
Hello sir, myself S. Jitilal Sharma, working as Deputy Secretary, Board of Secondary Education, Manipur. Zanojik pan biki pada Sarnojik pan biki pada koi Anganwadi Center singsida to my knowledge aina khangjaba phawdadi we follow some magi play activities boiro play boiro activities boiro natragana some atopa forms of akoigi leiriba ai syllabus and curriculum di hierarchy. That is very much kind of tore. Aduna high river pots this akoina P river activities sing se, lay river pots sing se. Akoi play material piro, chart pupiro, whatever akoigi lay river magi nutritional health pupiro. Does it follow akoigi yamna kind of uniform oiba pattern namaka follow tobra? Number one question. Number two question that if then masigi basis say kai weda akoina if I am remembering correctly, okay, SILE gi oiba, okay, Ministry of Social Welfare na thokpa activity book kar 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ki activity book kar masigi pose angang sing sida phangal labra. Ado phangan ribu ki maram sina kari kumba ip phangal laga di fare, phandraga di masi amuk hana recycle to the kari kai ke. These are questions. Thank you.
Chumi oja akoi Anganwadi center leba angang si akoi na thatur ke subdegi akoi chai ombo si mana koi supplementary nutrition na yumda kai da kana chapati la bijaba sin chai omme subdana chai tarp leba angang se masi ne chai om dena mari baumgi activity book category ama mari dena manga baugi activity book category ama manga den tor pausin activity book category ama masi lai pe hai koi sem je masi man kitang luklak pa masi om sigi si tau bije atopa akoina non formal education wona koina pi base mo ye nursery rhyme gumba pi base sumba yam la hen na kan to bune mo khoi se akoina mo ji kan to bagi koi gi sananing tai nge da mo sananing mo gumba tholokpa adigi koi gi angang ni na koi gi magi mon gi koi gi hachang gi koi gi emergency lak lak sumba class na koi yam kan na formality kan thobo sum ngam da ba activity book ti akoina pi base adugo mo khoi de koina yam kan na ka to ya da ni na akoi amana akoi anganwadi worker se helper singja koina training pibse nursery rhyme gi pibse koi training center om kagle Manipur gi oina government gi ama private gi ani machine koina pibaganda rhyme khaki pi sakivse mo koina pillega koina pil inspection sapaganda koina thingna se worker helper se rhyme je moina tapaganda yam playful way mong tap koi ngam do yam thingneba masi ja koina hayeng sigi national education policy la ganda koi gi school gi nursery ke ji tak masa gi hojiti lero ke ji lero harabunina ado hana training pi by primary teacher ji mo koi gi specialization do ai masi do pusila ga di akoina ngam da gap to mo tu ai pha bu ngam gani ne masi ta jo than ji ja
hello ai observation ma sam ta thamjage
Tamju telap na tambi observation.
Yam ten thamjage I know uzari baje khoi gi lekai da Anganwadi center che ahum mari leyaba ai khoi ja irang goi thong ge ai bam lekai ong sang lekai ne da center ahum mari jam nang na leiraga yam na nungai tabuna angang yam yaw da na moina angang jam tuin tuina pha ba lak pa gum su towi adagi mo khoi gi poster ama ka puthuani ngasi sida namani ama dang puthuani ade mathang da mungna mani mathang da mungna mani sumaina moi ji waina raga poster amana kari photo da sum namaga pangtha ta thagat pagi amaka ai sum observe tok jabane as a citizen as an ahal moina sum observe tok jarak pada masi gumba si akoi ge kayam leibage ba sumba Anganwadi center sing ase akoi Manipur da kayam leibage aduga kayam yam no moi ma'am si phasana awa kano ta hunba action plan da won thukpa angang sing da kramaina ma hi tambagi garigum khar pi ne na bagi method se masi angtang ai khangjaning
ai medam cha han su koi gi social ka do yam kan yaw ni medam yam mun khangje medam koi gi Anganwadi center se ngacha hajak wi smaina koi 11,510 ne masi akoi individually akoi na monitor to ngam de koi department ko koi ne senaga do bisi hujlei ba worker helper se phangi ba se salary na te mo koi di makoi na phang tori ba service koi na kitang koi in recognition de en koi honorarium pi bne ba lupa lising mari sanga ka ne pi jo worker da helper na lising om ne ba adu ngasa haije gi to makoi koi na training period na sari ram je som na pi ba honorarium sina madi yam de ne mai gi interest into system do adu like the week na jo koi thing nei hai ba adu si national education policy de di moi se moi tha jo hoji se school paranji mission ne to de gi na koi de yaw gi ba marai ba pha ba Anganwadi center jai school lo nak na lai moi ti moi khali se akoi school lo jaw era ni masi thwa yaw gan na koi school ni timing pung ahum ba pung baro mo ba hang phang ni gan haraw gi ba moi de regular ta bi di phang ni gan na mai puslap yaw ri ba ja nga che jana ha bi ma kang na koi Manipur da lai ba polling station si hana koi na ngamam de rationalization to bi de gi koi ngamap ni smain to da koi Anganwadi center jo rationalization to ra ba rationalization hai budi na sai gi ojana hai lekai ta lerak ta Anganwadi center om mai le sem yauri som da na angan koi kilometer manga kilometer tang pun lap da Anganwadi center am ka le yauri ba smaina koi gi political representative lai to ba mapum da Anganwadi center di population jam le ga su lai to yauri ba masi se akoi na ngam de department achum sang ai akoi ngam gani hai bise machine da akoi ni ngam da ba si je si tan ja lo ga akoi kan to ngam gani hai bise machine ne chaina kai tham jining
question am ta sa som
Chan.
hang ja question lam katang.
ai amamam to
I can note down.
Hello, Mr. Sir Speaker. SCERT Department Hindi Teachers Training Institute ta lejabane. Speaker Sir dagi na khangjaning wafam bana khoi gi hauji pre education si khoi gi primary da punjun gidro bani na hauji legadoi ba sar hauji tapi bada government na recognize tawba social welfare na recognize tawba khoi gi training center ahum layana takpire ado hauji NCT gi matungi na khoi gi early childhood care and education 2-year gi course si hauji Kogi Manipur the high government give Kogi recognition Pangaga Chalaiba private or government gam Talaibu Uzade. The high posaxi Karigumba primary education say the pre-education Pusalak Taragadi Huzik Handak 150 Kogi teachers Kaugi so happy advertisement Amzut Tenaze Madusu diploma in elementary education Natagana B.Ed na eligible Uhelaga after 3 years ki Manung say the Hariba early childhood care and education sina piga dawni haiba question ama khaksu khoina sum ujay do hojiki khangjaningi ba question di haiba early childhood and care education si hojik NAP 2020 la awrina government ki policy na tagana karigumba area khara da masi government hangtok na bagi chap chaba plan levirabra na tagana masi kyam thuna pakhat pidage haiba question du speaker sir dagi amtang khangjaningi
akoi gi hojik leiba anganwadi services Masidati akoi na ngasagi ECCE PB kanoche sabsaba koi formula policy lekte masidi masi karigino haibada akoi gi local nitugi akoi na jiki worker helpers na angang sigi interaction de kitang akoi na laing mo haibin nataba magi koi ko ki kanto bise ayamuna koi se koi gi early care koi gi education PB se masidi component tor ki manung da service tor component amakatane akoi immunization yauri koi supplementary nutrition yauri akoi health care di yauri smai to dina akoi na mayang wi overall loin tok panina akoi na kachi keno te ECCE katang da focus to ngam dabi keno te ne akoi na education katang da focus to kadi new national education policy to kadi koi ngam gani ha cha aduna ni akoi na hayeng koi national education policy se masi akoi na chai ahum de na kano bol lai ba aham gi foundation pp3 kano se masi pi matam da graduate teacher primary teacher na mana like tapper rhyme gum tapper hagiba hembadi yai adubu angang sigi machi diarrhea narbra masi cholera naba mali masi malnutrition naba mali stunting leba mali kain masi di akoi anganwadi waka help duna khangbu helkane maram di akoi jing sai service package training club to ola apne rhyme people di akoi na kitang sonda bi ai madu gi gap to ne akoi national education policy da pusla gadi sai infrastructure hena pagalakpa laikum lom da kanto kitang formality propaganda pajabe hengalakpa se hengalakani na koi na thamjarisi
laibiri bra koi
Sir, am the last one.
last is a question
Sir, I question lam ta hangjage.
pani hangi
I give me Irom Musarani Debi Ananda Singh Higher Secondary Academy. Angawadi da thamgadoriba angang singje sir 3 to 6 years pogi manungda laiba angang singni aduna hariba oja singse innovative ideas se amna leigadabani adu di government gi maikai dagi karamba makhal gi training se sahi amada kayarak thagadage angawadi worker singse loina na hariba angang singi sigi damakta karamba framework curriculum sembira bage habadi karamba makhal gi syllabus no angang khaisida tambi dogri bete
sigi training system je hoja si ayam ne education lom dadi la ekko si kanu se ada akoi da hojil le ba kanu dadi anu ba akoi gi anganwadi worker helper masi se sang pemela matam da akoi na training pi bise koi kanu pi tha ma gi koi training am pi ko aduna akoi ga haja gi ba koi gi diet kumba ma nat tabni na mo gi yamna special oi ba training si masi koi na lekte ba koi oina adu lekte bi kanu si khong cha da bise
kai nomta ningsang jage akoi gi syllabus kumba semba khotpa haiba ye khoi gi thambiri ba wahang se sima dia khoi na hojik si national education policy 2020 si fully implement tawba yana bagi road map ama semgat na bagi feedback mayam lojaraga tawjari hojik mang masi implement tawba natri banina syllabus ka loina mang ready da thamaga leibagi pot tu di leijadri haiba wafam sima ai knowledge limited oiram yai ko sigi matang da adugi wafam du da ide khanjai aduna adugumba khoi gi syllabus sema bra tawra bra haiba gumba gi potu da di khijik tang akoi as kitang sondaba hai tare maram di haugribani na haunabagi potneba tawjarei se aduna masi 2025 faugi manungda 35 aduna minimum 2040 faugi manungda NEPC loina fully implement tawba yana bagi chahi kun longi manung sida tawna bo honarakpani na housing makta hekta syllabus ka loina prepare tawna ready da laibagi potu madi laijadri punjan ba haurakna bagi integrate tawrakna bagi primary school ga aduga primary school education ani si integrate tawrakanda angang singda foundational literacy numeracy si kumai lakadage makoi de innovative idea kumai pokadage haibasi gi matangda khana naina ba oina leibanina adugumba syllabus ki pot sing du dia koi hojik tawjatri ai ba wafam si mai thamjage leibini ba to
aduga next sir hajiki question dugi makha tarak bo oina question lamtaga supplement amakataga haija hoge akoina angawadi worker saisida aigi mamangi topic ta aigi suggestion oiba some suggestions are already given to the Manipur government adugi manung sida aigi social akhoi laikai da locality da leiba angawadi worker sing da nakhoi training camp da chatli haiba sa ithiga jayeba sir adoi da ahum lakti chakadabani hai adubu Manipur government na makhoi si tahi amada ahum lak chatkadaba se amrotang chatlaga topa kangbu masu yawi aniratang chatlaga topa su yawi aduna Manipur government gi maikai dagi makhoi gi training se taseng na piri bra natraga pidra bra haiba do yengsin binaba sar gi maikai da wafam se thamjari sa
madugi kaino do yengsin jage aduga ngasai khoi gi kainona khoi learned speaker na haibiba matam da su Manipur da leriba anganwadi center se 11,510 ni ado makhoi si fazana well monitor to bangamde main power gi kari gi wat pana na ngasai wapam thambi kre aduna national education policy si fazana paikhala aba matam du da hayeng pot ani si fully integrate tawrak pa matam du da di monitor to ba yana bagi madugi mechanism madugi main power mayam do adu leirakane na thajajai aduna aikoina hawjik leijari si di loophole ama main power leitaba fazana well monitor to da base komai to dana well monitor to ba yaga dage komai to dana well monitor to raga anganwan sinsi am fazana functional oina madudagi kanaba phangadagi haiba mayam dugi madugi wakhal londu da sagalaga policy du program oina implement tawna bo hona jabani na madugi matam du made ngai biro haiba wapam sima thamjage ko matam tian jabani na sigi discussion sima ai swai the lotion jage thank you all
Thank you.
aduna thank you so now the second speaker is Ms. Laila Gatfo, Director, Maria Montessori Senior Secondary School, Koyengai. She will speak on an implementation framework consisting of road maps and the annual action plans for implementation of activities covering all the focus areas of foundational learning and the numeracy mission. Now, I request to present your talk.
Good afternoon, one and all present here today. May I be allowed to speak in English? Well, this is task 46, task 46 of the Government of Manipur Education S, in which this topic is here on implementation framework consisting of roadmaps and annual action plans for implementation of activities covering all the focus areas of FL and N mission. I will come to that a little later, but I would just like to have an introduction so that we know what is the framework, what is the roadmap that the government is going about. So here, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time where the foundation is being recognized and introduced to the mainstream. Child-centric. As we all know, that every child has a right to education now. Not only from 6 years of age, but from 3 years of age that they start school. Now, NEP 2020, there is a change. We've heard a lot of speakers saying on the change. I would just like to speak on that part, on the curriculum part, where the foundation is so important importance was not given to the foundation of a child. What do we expect when children grow up then? When you build a house, you have a foundation first, and then you can go one floor and again higher and higher. But without proper foundation, I feel it is sad, half-baked, and so on and so forth. So here, in the new structure, it is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, and I'm going to touch only the 5s, that is from 3 years to 8 years. For the first time again, it is the first time again that an early childhood care and education, our teachers are going to be qualified and they are going to be professional. So now we leave things to these professionals who will take part or who will work with our 3 years to 8 years. Now it has been said that about over 80% of the child's cognitive brain development happens before the age of 6. And it is so important that the age from till 6 is what takes place with the brain development. Dr. Maria Montessori says that the child's brain is like a sponge. She calls it the absorbent mind, the period of life when man's intelligence is at its greatest. Mahatma Gandhi too says that education, he means making of a man. So this is all foundation. Now we may say that there was some, just now we heard a few asking questions on ECCE. Well, the ECCE, or the Early Childhood Care and Education, it is not, only about rhymes and alphabets and numbers and songs. It is not all that about. Each topic, if you have English, if you have alphabet, you must know how to teach alphabet. Sounds. It is not ABCD only anymore. It is sounds. How they are being put together. Numbers. What is the meaning of numbers? What is the meaning of 1 and what is the meaning of 2? They are all in a sing-song manner. When it is in a sing-song manner, the child starts getting to know it also. Now, that is there. When they do craft, or when they do any kind of painting or drawing. Now, these are all in man, and we have to learn it. Craft, we have later on in life, it comes into use. The music, it's an important and a most loving tool to teach a child. Anything that you want to teach. So now when these ECCE are going to take part in implementing this or teaching them this, please remember, their focus is on social skills, sensitivity, good behavior, ethics, courtesy. All these are in the classroom when they are playing. It cannot be a chaotic. All discipline, everything has to be discipline. When you see a child, when the child is playing, please remember, the child is at her work. She is working. She's not only playing. Now, again coming to that, it says here, child at this, all children we take for granted that they're all okay, they're all fine. But there may be some children who are unwell and who are hungry. So these kind of areas also have to be looked into. So please remember that the ECCE will only attain maximum when we have a prepared environment for these kind of children. And here the new NEP says that language, it's going to be bilingual now. You can teach a child in the language that he or she is, comfortable with. So now, let me just come to the roadmap. I'm taking a little bit fast because there is, lack of time. So that my humbly suggestions to the government would be is, in the roadmap, we have to recruit teachers and train them. And this is immediately. We've already started work. And to implement, train the teachers in the curriculum, in the pedagogy of ECCE and foundation, literacy, and numeracy. Use of technology is the in thing now after the COVID. Also, health indicators. What? Children, again, come to that. Now here, do you think that it's only the teachers who are going to can do this, all these who are going to get recruitment? I would place my humble suggestions that we can even volunteers, those who are in very far-flung areas, we can have volunteers. And who will be those volunteers? They will be the college, the university students, hands-on. Now, NEP 2020 says experiential learning, so hands-on. Even the senior student. Here, I could suggest that reach one, teach one. I said teach one, reach one. So you, in your locality, or in your club, or around, we can use this formula of reach one, teach one. Now, my second year would be I would again want a specialized teacher training. Now, these specialized teacher training is, we have to do a lot of research on how the first year has come up and look into the loopholes and look into where the strength and the weakness. Now, we teachers, we love to be recognized. So again, this suggestion, my roadmap would be to get good teachers, for them to give their 100%, we have to recognize them and also reward them. So this will be 100% motivation of teachers, and not only it is only once a year. It has to be time and again, and if you have heard something about Miss X or Mr. X, he or she should be awarded immediately so that he feels nice, and also his colleagues and others who knows about it will give them a boost. My other suggestion would be enrichment activities. It is, always bold. Activities. They go for field trips, they go butterfly hunting, or they go to the paddy fields and learn what is it. My other suggestion would be book promotion. Reading is so very important in life. Yes. Last but not the least, very important, consolidated approach of the government departments. I want the social welfare, education, the social welfare, medical, and school education to work together to enhance mental and physical scholastic needs of the children. And last but not the least would be the opening of teacher training centers strictly for ECCE. And last, infrastructure building so that the place would be a happy learning and a happy school for the smaller ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Laila Gatfo, for your nice presentation. So now I request Ms. Amrita Naurem, Director Sisu Nisaniketan Kwakatel Mayaikoi. So now I request Ms. Amrita Naurem to present his viewpoints and opinions.
Good afternoon to all the respected dignitaries of the Department of Education, Government of Manipur, all esteemed members of the panel discussion on NEP 2020, Moderator Sir, amasung tinbiriba mayambu kurumjari. The National Policy 2020 is indeed an exciting proposal for a historic milestone for transformation in education. The policy has come out at a time when the schools are adapting to societal change and expectation by transforming themselves in role and identity using technology. So thank you for giving me this privilege and honor to be part of the platform. John Dewey said, "You cannot teach today the same way you did yesterday to prepare students for tomorrow." It is time we ponder over the fact that what we learned 20 years ago is not going to equip our children 20 years from now. Hence, the success of the policy will depend on the understanding, training, and embracing of the document in its true spirit. Therefore, it certainly calls for a systemic preparedness for transition in a shift of such magnitude. Learning continues. We have much to learn from a small school with less resources as from a large school with several resources. All we need is an openness to learning. By courtesy of being a master trainer for CBSE myself, I would like to share that in March 2019, in the backdrop to face the challenges of the technology-driven modern era in the area of school education, the CBSE board came out with the policy framework for its affiliated schools to share, cooperate, and learn from each other by forming groups of 4 to 6 neighborhood schools for collaborative growth. Such group of schools were known as hubs of learning. The main aim of this collaborative partnership between schools is to create an ecosystem for the schools to effectively take up all-round self-improvement. I repeat the word self-improvement of schools. Like the hubs of learning, twinning and pairing of schools is to provide opportunities to identify ideas, approaches, techniques, and methods that followed in visiting a school and which can be shared and serve as inspiration for new initiatives when the children and the school goes back to its parent campus. Currently, twinning and partnership program is still at a nascent stage in many states. However, it is an idea where the intent is to integrate the resources in the public and private sector in the field of education and work in collaboration to complement each other and not to compete. The Education Department of Punjab had already launched twinning of school programs, where there is a mutual exchange of activities and learning between students of government schools and private schools. The students of government and private schools will share their learning jointly. The students will be exchanging their schools for a day. One day, the students of the government school will visit the private schools, while on the other, the students of private schools will visit government schools. In this program, 10 students of private and government schools will visit each other's schools. They will share the best practices that are being followed in their respective schools. Who are the target groups? Which classes are we targeting? Students of class 6, 7, and 8 will be under this program and will spend a whole day at the schools they are going to visit. Apart from sharing the best practices being followed in their schools, they will be discussing the art and craft, local culture. Mutual exchange will be followed by a game, folk game, local game of interest by the children. This program aims to develop the sense of brotherhood, harmony, and understanding among the students from diverse backgrounds. Honorable Chief Minister had just mentioned angang sing ukrul dagi angang sing IMPHAL da purakpa Chandel dagi da chatpiruba or akoida chatluba haibado. Under this program itself, the idea is ching the labor school gi angang sing group of 10 valley da pubira aga 1 week ki oina exposure PBO haibane. Because such kind of initiative is not going to be implementable, or neither will it be understood with just one standalone training. It needs hand-holding of the teachers, it needs hand-holding of the principals for a couple of months to finally make sure that each stakeholder understands what we are moving towards. The twinning partnership of schools would provide a common and shared platform with the objectives of sharing culture of support and healthy interdependence among different areas of teaching. Provide an opportunity to share various ideas, instructional and assessment strategies, sharing of resources, promoting solidarity by facilitating joint conduct of various student staff activities. Sharing the taurani kai sharing taudoino haibagi parameters su khangna chatokpa phai khangdokpa su phai. And though there are many, broadly it has been categorized into 5 categories. The first is academic collaboration. To share information and expertise, observations and reflections on areas such as annual pedagogical plans, curriculum plans, transaction strategies, etc. Making an effort for co-planning of curriculum transaction. Number 2 category is resource sharing, giving input to each other for organizational as well as administrative skills. To share and exchange manpower and infrastructure, be it government and private schools. Constituting a district-level core team is recommended. Principals and teachers will have to be trained first for a paradigm shift, to be open to learning, learning to learn, learning to adapt, learning about assessments, and be technologically enabled for them, for you to understand the methods, how creative curriculum is to be transacted in the school environment. It is my strong opinion that we have to look forward to prepare for global citizens. If we have to equip and prepare our children to be global citizens of the future, we need to understand the importance of trainings at various levels of the school education system. The faster the principals and teachers adapt to learning without resistance, the faster our children will be able to connect and communicate with the world and be employment ready for future jobs which are still non-existent today. Mayam punna honna minaradi Manipur da NEP 2020 successful oiba ngamgani haina ai thajai. Isamak education da thawai yauba miyama oina ngasai ECCE gi matang da haikiba training or aina haziasi haizariba assessment or good practices say I Montessori training 0 to 6 years ki modern Montessori International London dagi tauzare 6 months ki. So the curriculum is already there, we need to share. That's all. I have been to Canada and did a course on just on assessment on the University of Toronto. Whatever they are saying and whatever we are doing, kaim ta manade, kaim ta chanade. I have visited Finland. In all the countries that I have gone, the program was such to visit 3-4 schools. And I'm very proud to say, and I hope this inspires the government school officials also, that in all these good countries, government school gi masing se 70 to 80% oi. Private school masing yam de. So if NEP is implemented well in true spirit, I think we have a long way to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Amrita Naurem. So the next speaker will be Professor Akwaizam Joy Singh, RIMS.
Respected moderator, sir, respected panelists, I di samakti kanogi competitive based medical education da yam thawa yau mini adubo ngasi topic se ngonda PV buda yam nungai je because I'm also contributing in education. National Education Policy 2020 gi clause 2.9 da emphasis the nutrition ga health ga da yam pajem pirame aduda natna kanoda 100% immunization haiba yam chawba maga palame then adagi regular health checkup haiba che 2.9 se yam bajana point mari yam bajana clearly mention to aingona piba topic na how to monitor kamaina monitor tony health and growth animaxi interrelated issues ngatani one is depending on others adu angona pb tracking monitoring and follow up action ni aduga periodic checkup kamai tawdege na haibuduni ai yam sang lojor matam su minute tar handarabni na factors affecting growth and development ke matang da there are many issues. Everything affects growth of a person, development of a person. ado I gi topic si mai le na I health and nutrition related topic ani sida I focus tawjage school child health policy si ha dagi leramawni ado 2013 dagi mama ya makhak olpai wani 2014 da adolescent health hapselakpa adu Ayushman Bharat 2018 April da publish taw matam sida they only strengthen the already existing Rashtriya Bal Swasthya Karyakram siga Rashtriya Kishore Swasthya Karyakram ani khaktang amana adolescent gi ni amana 18 years pokte dum goy amna adolescent specific ni second RKSS na adolescent specific ni adubu another point that envisages in this Ayushman Bharat the health and wellness ambassador teachers as ambassador for health and wellness 2 teachers from school laina wajiki Ayushman Bharat se am bhajana palle adu mai mathudu karino after training they will impart health and wellness education to the students akoina doctor na laga mina langang wasibudi oja da train toroga oja masada available ojabuduna hen funny hasi Ayushman Bharat ki April 2018 gi operational guidelines mention toy I mamang da I Bal Swasthya Rashtriya Bal Swasthya Karyakram RBSK ji panjagre masigi main duty di pokpadina sei try pan bogi manung sida 4 Ds na moina identify the disease akoina we are not going beyond that adana defects at birth deficiencies diseases childhood diseases ne developmental delay including disability si daila moina 29+1 diseases identified the way masi early identified tor matung da early intervention to si masigi ojiki program sigi RBSK gi achoba program amde another program se masi 2013 da thoropne 2014 da adolescents ki oba program ma thore se Rashtriya Kishore Swasthya Karyakram mahaba ma thore chamna panjara adolescent da what is not happening in an adolescent child everything happening ado seda akoi ai maning dagi haujarakpada non communicable diseases yamna ojikti like this parga thabak ta TV chi siyang badagi obesity yamna oselakpa hypertensive oselakpa ngang oringeda adagi substance abuse yam common oiba because some their friends are also in that some school khar chalu kana mamang de dendra yam taramba pan masla yam taramba adumba khoisung urakpa and then my age the mi khana ningba yam tuna temperamental change taibane violence to ogumbagi the mental health kidi kana khoi one of the speaker ngang birani aduga kanoge sexual and reproductive health yam important issue mo usilapa this is not taught properly sima ya important issue usilapa after all gari thau yaudari gari janba yadabani nutrition is all remain important all throughout adu masigi kanu sida Rashtriya Kishore Swasthya Karyakram RKSS for the adolescent phajna panje aina ahamna panjaki ba RBSK haibasida akoi kaidoboi no to bam khana drasi khana ise de maram di government of India na sigatang hana detector ga early detect and treat to in harmony na I kanogi I am not talking about overcrowding of the transport vehicles overcrowding of the schools non-availability of the drinking water safe drinking water non-availability of the hand washing facilities in the toilets adu matang de karinta haijera ro adu government na hana piramba koina tawduna leiba potama hana budi ai kanogi website ta national health mission website change of the moi thabuk yam tawrindi yam irami adu school da hanga de almost not done not satisfactory hai tare tawgi toram gone khanje akhoi sam udam na khan gamjadre aduna defect se moi hana loima identify tawre bar defect na kari no down syndrome oiba club foot oiba congenital cataract dark aduna blind oiba congenital deafness oiba congenital heart disease maximum surgery Manipura hospital onka recognize tawe that is only for heart surgery aduga amna Sky Hospital aduga Caesar Hospital ga IMPHAL Heart Institute si Manipur government na RSBK gi recognize tawa hospital hongokle ado hojiki sigi mayam deficiency dana anemia se khwai common se khwai gi akhoi na nutrition na khwai gi nutrient process da kan khwai ahan ba effect si anemia sida khangmangame hemoglobin wat pase mas growth yengding da si hana khangmangam ni then the vitamin A deficiency very common hojikti vitamin A deficiency is an important problem amana night blindness hoji am very am handare hoje Vitamin deficiency is very common now because nobody is exposed to sunlight now. That has become a disaster now. Although vitamin D, another important immunomodulatory in the corona lap, the masi daxing at the we try to avoid corona. One of the extra skeleton effects. Yam kana vidagne, the quay that Nusha took to Pay the Legidre, the severe acute malnutrition, goiter, Sima, Dumakoi, Himalayan range, the labor, goiter, Sudum common oil. Disease, the skin diseases, scabies, still common or fungal infection, kamalori. Otaris media, the quick kijik the window around the Nakung Kunto, the Napange. Rheumatoid heart disease, Barbula disease, my amatorco doing it, Tabak Chainbug, a moy, Satpang, a moy, Tabak Tawang, a moy doing it. I don't know, reactive airways, young when whizzing to Womakon, who is whiz dog so from a kangusing, Masi, Nanale, much ultimately they will develop asthma. And my Yahova, at the dental care is Yakunadi, Yada, Tinzab, Nikamaya, Tinzab in a chronic infection, ultimately it will affect heart, it will affect knee joints, all other joints. Aduna important. Kadubi Kuna Ya, Tinzag, and when Kadu concern noise. And a compulsive disorder say epilepsy, Tori, putting frequencies more means more brain loss. And then the memory becomes less and less. That becomes a problem. IQ becomes lesser and lesser. Aduna. Altogether, very big issues like hearing, vision yauri, vision sida, color vision yauguni, hearing impairment yauguni, motor delay lere, language delay lere, behavior disorder. Autism is very common. Akoina ngasibok dakuna yamba attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Angang koji in general kain hinabi ada. Akoina ayamana akoina ADHD ne. Some lying and later ayamani autism ne gajek. Autism is very common now all over India also. See include tore. In some state and Union Territory, the congenital hyperthyroidism, sickle cell anemia, beta common was optional in a 30th and half. Otherwise, for us, for the education department, the medical national health mission, 29 diseases. Then, how often should we check hygiene important? Periodic checkup the important way. Although 6 weeks to 6 years, the important way in the Otherwise, so 6 to 6 weeks, 6 years, that twice in a year at Anganwadi Center. Who will do it? A mobile health team. Mobile health team sick. I kona laksege. Mobile health team amna yenga dabane. Before 6 weeks study Anganwadi na mayum chala home chala yenga dabane. Asai Anganwadi importance mayam sa heavy gre. I the importance. Experience kali jade. School going children 6 to 18 years at least have negotiation, not once, at least once in a year at government and government added schools. Who will do it? It will be done by the mobile health team. Now, what is the component of the mobile health team? Dr. Ni Yawin Upa Nupiamni, fortunately or unfortunately, without any bias net, what are ayus? And the ayus masingam late, we don't appoint more than 12, 14 ayus doctors in Manipur. Many are working in private sectors. Siktang program lakani. Dagi ANM natural staff nurse ama organi pharmacist moyam satina preferred to but with computer knowledge. Pharmacist found a lab technician natural ophthalmic assistant how could now yaw but with computer knowledge. I can get nutritional indices in Chilacting at physical growth. What is very simple? What are the simple methods? The height, weight, mid upper arm circumference, head circumference, chest circumference. And very new the young can have to BMI, metabolic index, body basal metabolism index. Machine when was it follow up to the periodic examination of the half to Regina. Although Kadobi happy no na Havadoda. Nutritional indices have a Kanga da Gale. Kadobi no, when weight also Kadobi height only no, Kadobi AC we need why we need to know accurate is. Manipuri accurate is a problem lady, which is the Krakaba, there are buses Chumnaka in Abahore, otherwise we had problem. I don't know mid arm circumference, BMI Kadobi no, and if height king of the West Tata, the Madu acute malnutrition have a Kangame. Easy of the height what Taramaga, the Madu chronic malnutrition, mana, the quite nutrition toxic, we have a Kangame. Easy of the wet under Magadi Madu under nutrition, his nutrition is under nutrition. At the mid some left arms circumference own giri machina taise machine 5 years and above the Karkane 3 to 5 years almost 17 gumadum lay 5 years above the Amkane Masishu it is also if it is less always wasting ni all is body mass ni muscle ni all is adu masi acute malnutrition kamungami asagi basal metabolism index hi nungai bamna akoina depending on what you find, is it underweight, overweight, obesity have to kamungame aduna hujiki above 530 basal metabolism rate index is very important. Aduga below 5 years the growth chart still works. Okay, so okay, I'll finish up everything. Okay. So if the growth chart, if you see the growth chart, if it's going up, you are happy. If it is going flat, it's dangerous. If it is curved downward, it is very dangerous. Remember this one. So let us come to the monitoring frequency. So birth to up to 5 years, weight is to be measured weekly till 1 month. Then after that, weight monthly till 3 years. After that, every 3 months till 5 years. And what we do between 5 and 8 years? Height and the weight every 6 months. BMI yearly. It is next is also same. 9 to 18 years, height and the weight yearly, and the BMI also yearly. So lastly, this is the last slide. So doctors cannot monitor all the time. Anganwadi workers cannot monitor everything all the time. So it needs involvement of everybody, the individual himself, the parents, the family members, the peers, the school teachers, most important now, the community. These are very important things. So the involvement of all these things are very important. Then monitoring, though they said 6 months or 1 year, to my mind, it should be a continuous process. There were schools. I had the opportunity. Many of you must be from Rampa High School. There were teachers, very good teachers. During the, that they kept checking our nails. They kept checking our dress. We were so happy. Now we realize that what was the importance of that. Okay, so it should be a continuous process. But my emphasis, I want to give emphasis. Health card is a must. That must be recorded. Why health card is important for immunization, for any other thing? Because once you are going abroad, you need to show your immunization status. That is also important. But for all other practical purposes, if you are doing something, that must be recorded. That is for monitoring, that is data. Depending on that, what we find, we'll do tracking. That will follow up. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Zoy. So, the next speaker will be Dr. Sangeeta Yambem, clinical psychologist, and she will speak on framework for identification and the nurturing of gifted children at the elementary and the secondary stages. Now, Dr. Sangeeta Yambem.
Good afternoon, respected panelists and our moderator, and good afternoon to all the teachers present here. My topic se aigi topic se gifted children nurture tauba amasung identification tauba gi matangda lakadoini. Gifted children hairaga khoina kaino haibase khangba masu darkar tai intellectual ability and creativity significantly higher than average se si sini khoina gifted children haigadoi se, but including talented children haibasisu khoina khangjan bama darkar tai exceptional skills ama yauba talented student hairagana and ability in specific area, music OBI, dance OBI, or arts, any form the talent yaubasina khoina talented children hainasu khangnai. Ado moise akoina identify tauge hai taragadi elementary school or secondary school da teachers ki role se yam important oi, as well as the parents se first teacher oi doini children amagi aduna parents ki report su low darkar type teachers na. Tests are commonly assessment tools for identification, but si sina khatang akhoi the sole purpose serve taude identify taubagi damakta. So multiple assessment tools we used, both subjective and objective se used tawi. Teachers na first classroom environment angang ama specially haiba singthoi ba yawe haiba se akoina uba se karam kanda uba bhange hai kanda academic performance achievement test kumba adudagi magi overall functioning in school se sida akoina khangba se adum yawi. aduna akoina encourage tawbiba creativity da aduga divergent thinking out of the box khanhan ba some akoigi specific subject oiragadi individual duda adugi task to pibiba aduga akoigi open approach ama laihanba specific subject tugi oina adu sida akoina include tawbase all gender races culture loinabak yauhan gadabani akoina discrimination se tawbidaba regarding gender or racial or culturally aduga flexible oiba akoina test tawba haibase annually or monthly tawbanina adum sigi matang sida yengbiba changi loisan giba nataba test amatangda continuous process ama oiba aduga akoigi anecdotal record haise interview tawbiba parents se regarding the child aduga community magi surrounding neighbor kai ka sigi matang da khoina yengsan ba masu changi aduga akoigi kitang language manadaba oitaragadi moida translator ama dudaidi interpreter ama changhan ba su changi ado identify to base akoina ojagi khutsu yam lei student se identify to bi base but kitang ka hena heitoi singthoi base ubiragadi akoi IQ testing to thokpi je yam darkar tai IQ test to base akoi gi specially trained psychologist samna harba the clinical psychologist kumbana to basina hena emphasis pigani adu sida makhal makhal gi test season ay akoina angang ama yengba matamda adu sida area yaugadoise verbal non verbal abstract thinking conceptual thinking loina yaura ani aduna karamba area da ka hena haibage haibase adum khangtok pa yai adu nurturing tawbi base angang ama especially akoina gifted children or talented children se motivation se yam toina tawbiba amutang tawraga lepkiba oitaragadi moida demotivate ki changse lai aduga unchallenge oiba taragadi unchallenge hairagadi ngasai gi mana hairabanina subject tugi matangda hena hainingba polakpanina ngasai gi subject se laire emangonda aduduna lack oirakpa motivation se and classroom performance se poor oirai low grade lai aduga lack of interest aduduna akoina sigi matang sida moida haiba yari se magi own interpretation regarding the story adudagi di advanced book same subject to the use tawhanba and encourage teacher and student proactive roles e darkar tai assignment pb ba ka hena luba gi oidabida ngasai gi more advanced oiba mawongda assignment piba independent project pb ba aduga akoina push tawbiba haitare specific area duda regarding sports academic arts music oigera aduga akoigi effort se mana thadari base aduda oina akoina hena encourage tawbiba rather than good grades porakpagi mahuta aduga parents ka teacher ga se board yamna nurturing sida important oi moida akoina angang sing sida encourage tawbiba matai bed oiriba natraga mana khitang sholiba subject to the hena amuk hona hanbiba su changi if matter hairaga language se delay tawbase akoigi Albert Einstein su adum oi ngasai gi magi mathematics ki kano se hairaga language delay se aduduna kari area da delay laige haibase si su parents teachers na khangdok piba changi adudagi di provide intellectual challenges pb bachangi angang sida comparison ama to yari kai to bidaba adudagi open minded oiba moina friends ama semba matamda akoina si tinadaba haina sinba nataba moi masana choose to zahanba maram di moi gi same age group se magi gifted oibanina khitang mangonda punba matamda disencourage oiba laigani aduduna mana yengaga khanhan base darkar tai aduga akoina honest oibiba mangonda yauriba ability se talent se kaino haibase mangonda explain tawbiba machangi aduga akoina grade se skip tawraga hena kakhat hanbana hai ado grade skip tawbase overall functioning da gifted oiragadi kashu kaide adubu particular subject amada oitaragadi angang du da hena social adjustment emotional adudagidi academically deteriorate tawrakani aduduna yengbi batai koigi angang se especially karamba subject no natragana fully proper area si da loina oibra haibese aduga akoina si accelerate tawba matamda natraga grade skip tawbasi su kanabase pi academic satisfaction laihali adudagidi akoigi intellectual pair do lairabanina moigi performance se better oirai adudagi reduce behavior problems isu reduce lai adubo same thing akoina disadvantage se amuk lai emotionally unprepared oibana maram oiraga ngasagi adjust tawbada waba environment duda adudai bullying se toina thengnai adudagi unexpected challenges sina akoi frustration gumba aduna akoina yari makai angang ama gifted oibra talented oibra haibase khangtok mina se hairagadi first initial stage se teacher and parents ni aduga moigi matungina akoigi chanaba maphamda pubiraga yengbiba se darkar tai si hairaga ai lotion jarage. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sangeeta. So now I invite M. Indira Devi, Principal, Diet, Senapati, to speak on role of SCERTs in National School Education Policy.
Respected moderator, respected panelists, and senior officers from Education Department, and my teacher fraternities, and who are present all here in this function. It is very fortunate for the Department of SCERT to express a few words regarding their roles and their responsibilities in this NEP 2020. In fact, we all know that there are many provisions which are written in this NEP 2020, and in implementing this NEP 2020, what we have to do, different stakeholders at the different levels have to involve in that, and in implementing and in carrying out the task successfully, and in achieving the vision of this NEP as well as the Sustainable Development Goal 4, we have to work together in this area. Therefore, considering this fact, we feel that what kind of roles and the responsibilities the SCERT is taking up in this NEP, so we are trying to express whatever role is there in public domain. Here, first, what is SCERT? I will explain in one line that mainly the SCERT is a department under the education, and the main function of the SCERT is to provide training to the teachers, especially now we are providing training to the elementary teachers, and as well as the other teachers also we are providing training, and research work also we have to conduct, and material development, and these kind of academic works are taken up by the SCERT at the state level as a second tier of the supporting mechanism in the education sector. And in the third tier, in the district level, there are diets, and the diets are implementing whatever decision is taken up by the SCERT, and it is implementing at the district level by the diets. So, looking at this NEP, in the school education chapter, we found that there are 8 sections, and the roles of the SCERT and the diets, there are in all the chapters, it is cross-cutting. That is why we do not mention any para or anything there. So instead we are saying the roles and the responsibilities. So in the first section of early childhood care education, the main target of this early childhood care education is that in para number 1.1 it is written that universal provisioning of quality early childhood development care and education must be achieved by 2030. That is 100% enrollment should be done by 2030. So in this regard, we have made under the STET task force, we have a subcommittee at the directorate level, and at the directorate level, we have taken a decision to conduct a baseline survey of the existing preschools and the Anganwadi centers, and to find out the present status of such ECCE centers. Because without knowing the status of those ECCE centers, we cannot take up any action upon that. That is why for the baseline study, we have till now completed up to the development tool level, and the draft tool has been developed. And the findings of that baseline study we will be incorporating in the position paper, and which has to be developed as a state level position paper, and which will highlight the present status, the issues and the challenges in the ECCE in the state. It is relevant para is 1.4 to 1.5 in the early childhood care section. So about ECCE, there are many broad things that which are to be taken up by the SCERT, and before some minutes ago, one of the panelists was asked by some of our teacher group that about the curriculum of those ECCE and whether the social welfare department has developed any kind of curriculum in terms of ECCE. Actually, it is not. Now the SCERT has to adopt the curriculum of SCCE, which is developed by the NCERT. We can directly adopt the curriculum developed by the NCERT, or what we can do is that we can adapt it by incorporating the local content. The local flavor we have to incorporate in that, and after that the state curriculum framework of the ECCE has to be made up. So now, till now, the groundwork of the this development of curriculum has been taken up by the SCERT, and it is in the draft stage, and we are also working on that. Besides that, in doing this, the capacity building of our teacher educators who are working at the DITES are needed very much. That's why before some months back, in the beginning of this, NEP 2020, in collaboration with NCERT, their capacity building in regards to ECCE has been taken up, and they are the people who are working in this the curriculum development process. So in that curriculum, what we have to mention clearly is what kind of language or dialect we have to use in that region or in that district. Because Manipur, as we know that, we have different kinds of dialects, and from one district to another tribal district, we do not know their dialects to one another. But when we go to the mainland India, what happened? In Hindi, they can communicate to one another very easily. But suppose one person who is from Tamenglong district, he or she cannot understand the dialect who is speaking in the Senapati district. So this kind of difficult condition is encountering in case of Manipur. That is why we have to mention clearly that what kind of language or dialect is to be used in that particular region or the particular district, so that the teacher or the Anganwadi workers can be trained in that kind of dialect. This is what we have to do. And teaching learning materials. So teaching learning materials, when we talk about teaching learning materials, can we incorporate it in many things we can put in there, right from the activity books to up to the different kind of models and the charts. Everything can be incorporated in these TLMs. So in these TLMs also, what the child has to know from their immediate environment, we have to incorporate, and in that curriculum it's be clearly mentioned. And the local games, we have to encourage the local games, and the toys. About the toys, these SCERT also participating in the virtual toy fair, which is conducted recently. So toys is also another teaching, we can take it as a teaching learning material, and through these toys, what kind of learning can be enhanced to the child in terms of this ECCE. And we are talking much about the training of the teachers or the training of the Anganwadi workers. So when we look into it in the NEP, that it is the role of the SCERT that to train those Anganwadi workers or those ECCE practitioners. So in that, the SCERT have to design two types of, not only one type, two types of courses we have to design on it. The courses should be conducted on online mode. One will be for 6 months certificate course for those who are 10+2 and above. And for those who are below 10+2, they have to undergo one-line certificate course on online mode. So there are many other provisions. So that's why simply I was talking in every sections, in all the 8 sections, the role of the SCERT are cross-cutting in that. And last but not least, what I want to mention is that, as the time is very short, the standard setting and the accreditation for school education, what it says is that academic work would be conducted by separate independent bodies in order to avoid conflict of interest and the concentration of power, and to ensure due and quality focus on each role. Therefore, each and every stakeholder who are going to involve in this NEP should understand their specific roles, and that they have to link together so that they can help to one another. So what kind of academic role is that SCERT has to take up? Academic matters, including academic standard with curricula in the state, will be led by the SCERT with close consultation and collaboration with NCERT, which will be reinvigorated as an institution. This is one. The second is that the SCERT will develop a school quality assessment and accreditation framework, we call it SQUAF, through wide consultation with all the stakeholders. This is for schools. And the SCERT will also lead a change management process for the reinvigoration of the CRCs, Cluster Resource Centers, BRCs, that is the Block Resource Centers, and the DIETs, which must change the capacity of the work culture of the institutions in 3 years. Very short, within 3 years, they have to change it and developing them into vibrant institution of excellence. Therefore, at the conclusion, what I want to suggest to all is that looking at all the different aspects of the roles and the responsibilities of the SCERT, that what we require for the present situation is that to expand and restructure the existing structure of SCERT and the DIETs at the district level. What I am talking about DIETs also. When we restructure the SCERT, it is also required to restructure the DIETs in terms of human resources, infrastructure, and the technological inputs, because technology is also another one which is going through everywhere. Therefore, human resources should be in terms of numbers of manpowers and their capacity and the competency. So these are all some roles and some suggestions that I have put in regards of SCERT. Thank you once again to all.
Thank you very much, M. Indira Devi. So now I take the opportunity of inviting Sri L. Chandrakumar Singh, Program Officer, Samagraha Shiksha Manipur, to speak on guidelines regarding age-appropriate mainstreaming identified out of school children.
Respected moderator, respected panelists, or respected officers from education department and other departments, invitees, and my dear teachers. I want the PB topic C, guidelines regarding the age-appropriate mainstreaming of identified out-of-school children. Haibani. aduna ahan bada magi guidelines lakti mangda auto school si auto school children haibsi kana no kana auto school channel haibno haibsi dagi haujage an global partnership for education 2013 na define to bugi matungina auto school children haibsi angang makhal kara schooling facility later na mai community doibe ai school chataba ani subana angang sin karam angang no haiba kanda schooling facility se leiraga su chattaba ahun subadana masi school da ming chalaga su karaktaba natra hagana kara maga su tokiba school system tagi drop out tokiba aduna masigi definition sidagi punsilaga ahan bagi category sibuna khoina never in loan haina loba yai aduga limoriba atopa category sibuna khona drop out haisini anna khona out of school life siga drop out siga out of school sida magi never in loan and then drop out haiba ports ani silegani aduga ayama number di more than 90% di koigi drop out na oigani anna khona aigi topic si national education policy sigi magi para number 3.1 da yauri baduga mari lena bani and 3.1 da haidibasi hana samaga shiksha housing na samaga shiksha kauraba hana samaga shiksha abhiyan haino odambase masigi makada tongan ba strategy mayamama right to education act sigi banamji phangna ba khona bada khoina packet pa matamda angang enrollment dropout si yamna lerambadagi handhan ba ngamena my report sira hairi adorega sumaru na magi report hojigi 3.1 sina haibagi matunginadi angang okay lower level primary level dai tare sei taruk tagi nipan sidi 90% GR attend to here my drop out yam de here then sahi ma pannamu sun tara sina sig marak tele sina around 79% my lay duga unfortunately akoi sahi tara ma thoin time to gi side level per sidi my GR se only 56 ada mutele I just country throughout the Manipuri context na sidi country sini aduna masigi strategy si lapamatam da khoina sarva shiksha abhiyan class 1 to 8 deal to Japanese Sabha Shiksha Abhiyan na and Sabha Shiksha Abhiyan na hana yana na masi hawdo ko matamda angang singsigidam takari strategy packet pagi haiba kanda sigi magi guideline na pinamisi ngasagi school lejadaba mafam da ahan category gido aduda magi mafam singsa education guarantee scheme haidana akoi temporary oiba school makhalama hangdo ko yabasi guideline na pinami ani suba school dil leiraga angang ka daba mafam singdana AIE alternative and innovative education haidisini masi a kind of bridge course ni maji 6 months 9 months 12 months sumaina design torami masigi maka sigi scheme EGS and AIE haibasi Sabha Shiksha Abhiyan gi makada Sabha Shiksha Abhiyan si 2001 dal hawdorpa matamda masi sumaina scheme ani shekhoi loina lerami sigi hojiki hariba ahanbagi EGS scheme haya silarami ba kon schooling facility se provide to bisi status ma ka kai tamjage sabajiksha bian si kon introduce to pakanda right to education act si 2010 ye apil sidagi chana ba hawrpani and masi chana ba hawrpa sawai da kona school mapping ama with the ministry MSR de sha bi da pagaloina kona school mapping exercise am tawe adugi school mapping exercise si akogi ministry of science and technology ne jokana matim kambi gi bani satellite images log to gi bani adugi matungina koina EGS one leram sidagi EGS 700 hen lerami adumagi suitable over 456 EGS adugi not only EGS katana unsub on EGS so hangdana unsub on school lem da jaga 335 unsub total 791 new primary school se wasaba shiksha abhiyan gi makhada establish togre aduga primary unit leramba school dana 381 se primary to upper primary ko upgrade togre aduga then atopa chingma arapa habitation se yam lan leiba mafam singda ko yam disadvantage group angang sing dugi yanga 9 residential schools aduga 11 KGBB asi akoi phajana 20 si ran toraga chala rega lere aduga 9 8 residential hostel lama su akoi na phange si de ko initial stage da lere hariba sing che koina samaga shiksha gi hana sabal shiksha hairam badugi makhada koina provide to give facility sing ni annawji after introducing RT Act 2009 RT Act 2009 si introduce to pakanda ma strategy se kitang style honge hana leram se ko scheme ma talam basi scheme se kitang design to rai matungina aduna EGS na leram bachingdo ma leitre continue discontinue to bre EGS ai poch leitre mang cha new schools open anoba p1 na p gituni aduga AI na leram baduna AI center ngeduna mon special training centers for as appropriate mainstreaming of all school children haiduna redesign to re hanagi AI leram badu aduna igi topic se hojiki akon bagi sida laiba AI dagi redesign to re special training center for as appropriate mainstreaming of all school children haibaduni ngusai silak jarisi and special training for our school children CD kari haike have kanda masi AI dugan almost mani masub discourse ni adu period maon hari sidna magi di special training si magi period si hongdore minimum si 3 months hogadabani adu magi maximum si anga mada 24 months bawa cover to ba yai hai magi si matungina adu ga koina 24 months si cover to taragadi akoida karamana lakhe haiba kanda every year akoina angang khradi kon special training je cover to bakanda continue from previous year mamang chai dagi lai adu kharana fresh identify chahi dugi identify to ba angang sing masi pulla kanda koina present chahi dugi special training center da cover to angang dugi masing si hida count to bani aduga special training center si masi akona makhalani da tawi anda khoi residential mode aduga non residential mode okoi matungi magi phibam adugi matungina hari ani maxi ministry na approve tawi aduga sigi chalaringe da aimanda bi musai bibi basi guideline regarding age appropriate mainstreaming haibani aduga masigi tasengba guideline pedagogical or ki part ki or su upon the guideline amadi NCERT na approve to laire ado ko state na su ado ko follow to ba ka state ki chana bada so ko state ki concern SCERT ga akoi kanan mai ona jari ado in the meantime adak sida ministry de ki da sigi special training center sing se chalai do matam da nan to matam da moina thabak ani ka yamna important when hide masi ani se to da ba ya de na mon chi thi ibire and moin hai je ahan bada identification of our children aduga ani subadana tracking system of the mainstream out of school children haibani anno sai ahan bada identification of our school children si akoi 2010 11 da di akoi pura manipur bomba lepsi pulla kanda akoi ajoba NGO ni involve torga akoi togre adu angang lising kun ma thuguma phangi 21400 kuma phangi bani adu na hoi sa thara padna 8% da di hoja akoi 4975 padani akoi angang chai chai gi laga hoja akoi 8% da lai dise ado ministry nai si akoi national sample survey NSS na piba report tadi not only Manipur khaktagi dinate Bharat pumbagi na moina piba report tuga akoi na laiba ngang musingsiga jaw na khenaba lei hai moi gi report matung di around about 30,000 ba akoi da leiba ya expect towi state sigi oina adu wadaga su moi gi dudi sample survey ni en matang thamjani ram na census survey na te khal sample ne to survey ni aduna sigi our school identified to bagi si ministry so jikan hari adu galoina na khoi ngaran na sile tada mathabi rei akoi department na ma si akoi yam thuna awigi financial year April May si hor pakanda akoi madu tona ba ana koi lepsadi maram di karigino ai pakanda sabha shiksha abhiyan si chalai bakanda magi pire ba phansi particular intervention head among the pallaga pire and magi out sigi identified of our school channel have a si particular head sigi akoi magi phansi lobham head se hana leram daba adu moi propose no haji moi norm si device tore and handak lakode ba sinba sahi 2021 and 22 dagidi magi se magi tongan jaga ma moi na phan head ama create to bide aduna laile koi madun magi han chahi sing si akoi na phan si leitaba anna phan leitaba na ano chahi April May hamsi he hawala ko matam si ta koi na magi budget ta hapaga akoi masi our school gi identify si me April May June thing of the side koi pai ka start to ba hongna ba na akoi mai sem sa jabani aduga tracking system of the management of our children ai simai amam lak sage an auji ahan household survey gi do aina mawji April May da sem sajari na haibiduni aduga si tracking sidana tracking system si akoi hawji maki na di computerized tona lejidri and akoi manual wena level honda ahan sina special training center to da koi da ko to yang sing do and second sina man management to de school gi da koi record to wi aduga third sina district project office da wena compile to wi district and sigi computerization no sigi data sidi akoina SDMIS student database management system haidana ministry na kogi moina singa system malai masi a part of EU digest EU digest ko chai kuding angang singi data khom bani sigi student database management system sil lakpakanda child wise individual record lagini anu masi akona computerized to haiba ko de lei data singsi si matung na computerized to bi khudung cha ko de lagini ko me computerized masi mo NIC na andagi 2021 silo sila pada masi sizna ba yagani habegi mo da ko target tori adu ga ko nangang gi data singsi computerized to ngam gani aduna lo sila pada akona kadai dangang le ri na yam phajana identify to bi ra adu angang singsi kadai da management to gi kadai di set kino na kuna fazana magi data si manage to bi na magi management to gi system je fazana thambira ba adore ga di akona masi implement to bada yamna to ba sure da ba ko da mai pa pa ma oi gi ne bi thamjaraga ko da ma ta ga sai thank you.
Thank you very much, Sri L. Chandra Kumar Singh. Friends, we have listened to the speech of 7 learned speakers on different 7 topics. Now is the time for introduction. I'm sorry to inform all that we got only 10 minutes time allotment. Formerly, we got 40 to 45 minutes, but because of the time constraint, we got only 10 minutes. So at least I like to invite 5 or 6 questions from the learned audience. No observation, question.
Hello, sir. I'm Gopal from Kumi College. My question is, new education policy equity,
hangisibo question na ano ko ni education policy sida ay privatization ki wapung se karmaya to gede ke harus matala pa ko nang sidu thamde panel as pura ke open question le ke
sa hadagi hamiba question lagi manungina ai sadagi question no kan sa dele to de hoge ai ni ro salan te ni analysis base ke ni garan matau parana apai Manipura medical institution amadi private school mayam singa sum privatization to hote chum henjadari aduna masi education system sida privatization se matau param haina muthak kadage habado apai expert mayam dagi thaminamna baning singjari.
Anybody from the panelists?
I don't know if I'll be able to answer that correctly because today, ngasi ko na lecture say private school na government school da kaya kamay na mating PCG na lecture bani private school mutan na bagi hairak taragadi. I might not have the right answer, but looking forward, school pagarahan ba hay bise school ama katang paragab diya banate ako'y na ngasi pamagatana ribase state ki oina irrespective of state private schools, government schools, ICSE schools, CBSE school, irrespective oina angang pumna mag school kuting magta chap mana na kamay na pukhat sige hay natana bagi matam nina private school gi aphabalay ragasu laubiyu ka na ba at share of zege Sishunista Niketan IMPHAL East, IMPHAL West ehang represent auraga lakse bani training program beso koi mating pangzage support of zage teacher training program de ECCE the curriculum leite haina chamam na ba leibadu akoi chahi kaya tauraga lai bani ai ngasai 0 to 6 years aina soidana high grade 2 to 6 years ai bani so akoi na share to ba ya bayam lei mating pangzage na lakse bani mating lawiu haina haizage thank you.
Kitang supplement wa ngai please. So suppose I kainom ta haija yang ta. So anyway. National Education Policy 2020 da su ngasai akoi amrita na ngang ki badu da yaw re. Twinning or pairing of public and private schools. Indian education system si da hausi pau da lady si public domain, private domain, public sector, private sector, dan animal lady. Ado yam na theoretical report and easy competition taurakan da hen na papa product ama putorang na bagi theoretical understanding do the tawani. Ado na hausi new education policies na taura isi twinning tawa, pairing tawa. Ado na twinning tawa, pairing tawa sige manung da ngasai koi na su resource person na ngang bigi ba academic collaboration taw na ba resource sharing taw na ba professional collaboration taw na ba asig mo mayamam leidana si taw re heraga akoi da National Education Policy ki vision goal oina leiri ba ngasai sama ngasai habi ba drop out leiri ba si 2025 tagi na 30 phaugi manung da GRC 100% oi heraga loina mak Lairik hai taba hai betul lai handa dana loina school de enroll to na bagi policy si da koi yaurip ni aduna masi komai muthat ka dagi hai betul dia koi semi aduga national education policy itself si da as I understand aina khangja badadi private school muthat bagi wa yaw de ani si twinning and the pairing tawrakanda hen of education system amada lairiba angang sing si da piraga koi madu university da leba yai mahiroi sing da piraga lower level da leba yai madu medical education do leba yai engineering leba yai general leba yai pura maksi loina tawraga hen na phaba india ma sem da bagi manglan duni leiri pa sem madu gi road map ama sem na bo na jabane na thamjage aroi ba question na makanga thambiro du ai loisan jage
Thank you.
Yare. Masigi matangda houzik se NCERT gi makoi gi finalize oiraba curriculum framework se thadok ko thadok taba taragasu ministry ki guidelines ki matungina khoi groundwork horo haidana khoina groundwork hojabani maramdi hana gi existing oiba ECCE gi 6 months ki course ki tongan ba NCERT gi curriculum lai aduna maram oidana khoina groundwork hobani hauji makidi final sida oiba natribani na aikoina how much percentage is to be incorporated haibase akoi adugidi final decision laitri aduna ai matang sida sumaina thamjage hayeng final oiramdai da masi akoi SCERT khaktagi work nate masi gi loiramdai sida akoi sub committee gi mamang da puthoraki then social welfare department kaurakini ko masi gi si akoi na different department single loina raga tied up tawraga even health ki lairi ko mayam si loina ma collaborate tawrakani but just groundwork haijabane akoi na haijabati aduna akoi start tawre haina dumaina thamjabane Yabira Gadrauza. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yam Pazava observation number PJ Kanjayado National Education Policy seeing a Sikanari Basigi Mandung in the Aquina Madugi Matanga, Tuidona, Heisening, later and I moderator more in Heisege, Aduga gender equality, Wafam CD, ID mindset ki Wapam Nena Kali, why dress ki quarter, Natraga Atopa Tonganba, Nainabayaba, Factor Mayama Malay, Adubu, Takimak Sengna Quinangasi. In India, in general, aduga Manipur lairiba akoigi gender inequality aduga akoigi kari haini lairiba disabilities mayam sidi culture related oiba aduga akoigi mindset so long as mindset sidabu lairing idi madu kokpa suam ngamoi daba pot ne aduna madugi potu dagi nanthok na ba honnaba haiba sidi tongan ba effort ama tongan ba policy ama leigene na khalli aduna matam ga kitang ten manina hangbiri ba question do kisitang akoi nangasi khanajari ba topic sing siga relevant oiba kitang What's a yena kanjaraga topic to makti yam pai ko do lairiba ko na khanariba topic sida kitang relevant oi ba wat pa namar moizaraga madu tongan ba hayang khudong saba ma leira kanda khana na ba matang so lobi wa do ga khana ba ya ba gi khudong saba so phangakani ai ba asa se thamjaraga ngasi gi interaction gi potsi matang sida matam yam ten ma namar moidona loisan jare haiba wafam jima thamjage aduga interaction si loisan laba matungda yamna risuel oina Matam Yam Sang Logzeroi, moderator Giwaiba, yam chaurakpa koigi report amakatang madu tiabi sorry god madu kaino tobiro yaragadi excuse tobiro matam su leitre madam di 10 minutes hena laura abane duna kitang matam gi constraints akoina tawjabana te akoi masi manipur da tawba academic seminar sing da su yam toy toy yam ten thambio yam ten samjanbio madu process da lei ai na I thamjage ai isana khangjabada wa koi committee mayamam semgre ai committee dugi member oiba yaujagre sarkar da committee gi report pikhatjagre sarkar na madu study tauri aduga aina sum khanjabada madu mamangi sarkar da gi haujarakpani haujiki leiriba sarkar da su masi puthokna khanagre kare komai tawdana manipur da leiriba school khuding mak se loina private school sing se maru aina masi komai tawdana government gi control makada policy magi makada leigada gi bi haibagi process da leiri haiba wafam se ai thamjaraga paukhum oina tenjan jage ko mado chumi moderator ama oinadi aina sangdok sanabagi aingonda leijariba kaino sida madu leijadre sarkar gi maru oiba lengsan diriba functionary sing sinasu masi tasan bireraga hena sangba aigi wakalonda khanjabadadi sumai tawdana koi discussion tawbasina hena maru oina noma nini satharega tongan ba koi tax ki leriba factor mayam sida khanare erga komai tawna semgadage na khanabasi ya maru oibane khalli adu anyway ngasi gi damakta oina di I am sorry to say this ko aduna matam leitramni na tenjan jage ritual oina I moderator gi yam tem takba wafam amaka thamjaraga ngasi gi ahan ba session si loisanjana ba tawjage akoi session simata ahan ba session sida koi speaker tarena tongan ba kaino sing da koi wangang bi kre ngangi ba sing si yan han ba da koi Sri Bantina ngang bi kiba wasi akoi guidelines for integration or linking of Anganwadi into school complexes and the clusters sai da ngang bi re sai da aina moderator amoina yamna aina thamjaning basi maru aina mana suggestion pibiram basi hauzik manipurda 11,510 Anganwadi centers sing lay aduna leiriba Anganwadi centers sing si phajana akoina inspection tawdana phajana function ohenba ngamde aduna national education policy si lakpaga loina na Anganwadi center preschool pre-primary education si primary education ga punjalla abanina masidaisda koigi lairiba posting sigi rationalization of the Anganwadi center sing si mathau tai haiba wafam mama yam tentakna thambirame aduna masigi wafam si ngasai akoigi organizer sing snu ngangi basing siloina record tawbiram gane na thajajai aduna ngasai akoigi bantina ngangbiram basida hairiba pose Anganwadi center sing da ngasai question hangdirapa matam dasu phajana function tawda theoretically theory ga practice ka samnadaba ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯗ ꯂꯩꯔꯤꯁꯦ ꯃꯔꯨꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯗ ꯂꯩꯔꯤꯕ ꯑꯋꯥꯕꯁꯤ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛ education policy ꯁꯤꯗꯁꯨ ꯊꯣꯛꯇꯣꯏꯅꯤ policy itself ꯁꯦ ꯌꯦꯡꯕꯗ ꯌꯥꯝ ꯐꯖꯕ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯐꯔꯗꯧꯕ ꯃꯥꯟꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯃꯁꯤ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯦꯛꯇꯤꯁꯇ ꯏꯝꯄ꯭ꯂꯤꯃꯦꯟꯇꯦꯁꯟ ꯇꯧꯔꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯦꯛꯇꯤꯁꯇ ꯑꯍꯣꯕ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯑꯃ ꯂꯩꯔꯛꯄꯁꯦ ꯃꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯑꯋꯥꯕꯁꯤꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯊꯦꯡꯅꯗꯣꯏꯁꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯊꯤꯑꯣꯔꯤ ꯑꯦꯟड ꯄ꯭ꯔꯦꯛꯇꯤꯁ ꯑꯅꯤꯃꯛꯇ ꯄꯣꯠ ꯑꯅꯤꯁꯤ ꯐꯍꯟꯕꯒꯤ ꯃꯊꯧ ꯇꯥꯏ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯦꯛꯇꯤꯁ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯅ ꯊꯤꯑꯣꯔꯤꯗ ꯐꯕꯗꯨ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯦꯛꯇꯤꯁ ꯇꯧꯔꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯐꯠꯇꯕꯗ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯊꯤꯑꯣꯔꯤꯗ ꯁꯦꯝꯗꯣꯛꯄ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯑꯣꯟꯒꯣꯌꯤꯡ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯁꯦꯁꯁꯤꯗ 2020 NEPꯁꯤꯅ 2035 2040 ꯐꯥꯎꯒꯤ ꯃꯅꯨꯡꯗ ꯐꯨꯜ ꯏꯝꯄ꯭ꯂꯤꯃꯦꯟꯇꯦꯁꯟ ꯉꯝꯅꯅꯕ ꯊꯤꯑꯣꯔꯤ ꯑꯦꯟड ꯄ꯭ꯔꯦꯛꯇꯤꯁ ꯑꯅꯤꯃꯛꯀꯤ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯦꯛꯇꯤꯁ ꯑꯃꯈꯛ ꯗꯔꯀꯥꯔ ꯂꯩ ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯈꯜꯂꯤ ꯃꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯦꯛꯇꯤꯁꯁꯤꯗ ꯊꯤꯑꯣꯔꯤ ꯂꯩꯔꯦ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛ ꯔꯣꯗ ꯃꯦꯞ ꯑꯃ ꯁꯦꯝꯃꯦ ꯔꯣꯗ ꯃꯦꯞꯁꯤ ꯁꯦꯝꯃꯛꯄ ꯃꯇꯝꯗ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯦꯛꯇꯤꯁ ꯇꯧꯔꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯦꯛꯇꯤꯁꯇ ꯊꯦꯡꯅꯕ ꯈꯨꯗꯣꯡꯆꯥꯗꯕ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯦꯛꯇꯤꯁꯇ ꯃꯄꯨꯡ ꯐꯥꯅ ꯄꯥꯡꯊꯣꯛꯄ ꯉꯝꯗꯕꯁꯤꯡꯗꯨꯅ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯃꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯂꯥꯏꯠꯇ ꯐꯪꯉꯤꯕ ꯗꯤꯐꯤꯀꯜꯇꯤꯁꯤꯡꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯂꯥꯏꯠꯇ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯁꯦꯝꯃꯤꯕ ꯄꯣꯂꯤꯁꯤꯁꯦ ꯃꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ revisit tawagi darkar laiba revisit tawraba policy do amuk practice tawraga semdok semjin tawraga about some 20 years gi manungda national education policy se phajana semgat payana bagi achauba thodang amakak aikoi mayam maruina tinbiriba oza sing adidi maruina manipur sarkar gi effort they laibiriba machinery administrative machinery mayam sigi effort amakak darkar lai haina khali collective aiba effort amakak aduna akoi people's ki participation chhatra ki participation oza sing ki participation yaudana somna ki education policy si sarkar na implement tawbada mai pak pangamoi aduna aisu ozani oza ma oina chhatra oina citizen na mo oina akoi education policy se mai pang na phona bada mayam punamak participate tawbiu amasung tawminna si haiba appeal sima ai thamjage ani subada ngasai akoina ngangbi khiba akoi gi speaker si Miss Laila Gatfo mana ngangbi khiba se ngasai gi akoi gi kainoni akoi foundational learning and numeracy mission is aduna koi education policies da ngasai speaker na ngangbi khibada yana na foundation learning si mainstream education ga integrate tawna ba honna ba si handaki leibo policies da ahan bani ba mot thambi maram di foundational literacy and the numeracy si India da koi ngasi ba phangjaba matam da 3 standard 4 standard yawra ba da akoi gi phajana pa ba thok da ba phajana numeracy gi knowledge leita ba gi pot si lei aduna ngasi gi anoba national education policy si da di foundation si da literacy foundational literacy and the numeracy se leitragadi akoi tungda lakadaba mayam sidi loinamuk fail oibagi pone maramdi foundation du da phajana phangogdragadi hayeng mathak hapkat pa yar oidobunina aduna masigi foundational literacy and the numeracy sida akoi karamba mawong da akoi phajana semdok pa yagadage haibadu ngasigi speaker singsina ngangbi ki wafam singdo thamjan biraga madugi policy making torpa matamdana director of education na lobby raga maragi tholak pa poto sema matungda amuk madugi naina ba khona ba mayam ama lakhini haibagi khanjai maramdi akoi state ki weba tax force amsu lady tax force tu gi makhada muk sub committee mayam ama lady madu khanaraga people ga sumai todra people oriented oiba pot ama lakani haibagi wakal da thamjage ahum subada ngasai akoi Miss Amrita Naurem na ngangbi khibada akoi gi twinning to wain haibado ngasai gi akoi hojing ngasi de ngasai akoi private school singa government ki school singa yamna tongan ma dichotomy oina uraga ani se punjan ba yada bo na to gi pot am lady adu India gi education system da Manipur gi da su private school amasung government school ani mona lawri ba pot si di yamna maroi ba ngaktani private school na lawri ba role si su hekta koina just at the moment si the hekta koina neglect to ba yaroi damnina ani si gi twinning to ba khak darkar lai hedana thambi thamba meeting ni aduna twinning to ba matam sida khoin ngasai haijari ba to karam mong da koi collaborative to ba yabage in terms of human resource in terms of koi karihani administrative mayam sida collaborate toraga sata the hen effective way ba hen phaba school education na pi ba yaga da ge habagi wakallono ne sida thambiri sina aduna ngasai Mari subada ngangbi khiba khoi gi Professor Joy na ngangbi khibada ngasai gi health and education isam sam na ngasai aina taja hobada naraba angang na komai tawdana active mind leigani isam chamba hakazabagi skebi gi phugri thungba angang amana baw mind do direct tam matam da divert to batabani ozana ta ngai tarak matam da khoina hak madugi hakazabadu honna bada matam do dum som da pibang ngam dab tab ne sigi maru iba mayam do yam panbi kare du ga technical oiba ngasai gi khoina thambi gi ba matam da khoi gi khoi tongan ba khoi gi sector sing as ka tongan ba khoi gi hiram sing da khoi ngak tangpi khame dei da yamna aina aroi ba yamna important way na logja ba pot ama khakta khoi gi monitoring practice se masi yam important oi toina school da khoi gi kari hai gani medical checkup ki pot sia khoi gi special medical team ma mana pangthok pa do pangthok ga loina na oza sing da su masi gi knowledge do pira kanda angang sing sia khoi gi laina free oi han na ba gi hon na ba gi matang da madu gi pot da takpi re aduga madugi process tu matam gi khoi continuing oiba process ama doina sataragadi health ka education ga mari leina bagi post he na phagani habagi wakalon thambi kre adagi dia koi clinical psychologist Dr. Sangita Yambem na su akoi gi angang sing si da gifted child sing si akoi gi kari haini masi komai tau na identify tau ni aduga komai tau na makoi si moi de lady ba posi akoi makoi de laser ba creativity si akoi komai tau na akoi cultivate tau ni haibagi matang da takpi kre aina khangja ba phau da di mipung khuding mak si loina mak phil amada natraga amada gifted oiba ngak ta ni hen education gi mari leina ba sing ne hen na khangbi ramani gifted oiba phil do kari da no haina identify tau bi daga adu da encourage tau bi ba aduga magi ability creativity do padu da akoina cultivate tau bi bagi mathau tai haiba wafam sima khoi thambire aduga taruk subada M Indira Devi na SCERT na lawgadaba role gi matang da ya mayak seng na takpi gre aduna tongan ba school gi national education policy gi lairiba point trade ni pan si da NCERT na lawgadaba role mayam do loina mapung phana takpi gre sigi matang da aina ngasai hangi ba wahang amaga mari leina na khumjening basi akoina national education policy 2022 sigi vision aduga magi manungi shol hai tarena thawai ori base yeng matam da Indian rooted hai Indian nation nama sagan na ba honna ba Indian rooted hai bane aduna India ai se amu akoina punna yenga kanda di tongan ba varied cultures varied languages aduga varied ways of life mayam na sema kanda India ai base ma oirak panina akoi gi hausiki matam si da di akoina India gi leiriba slogan about unity in diversity guys leibanina local elements local roots hai se yam darkar lei haina khanjai aduna aina khanjabada local elements sing se hapagi si hausi phawada 33% gomba local element hapaya na leidisi in national education policy 2020 si implement tor po matam da su madudogi ta da namasu madudagi hena akoi local element hapaya bagi khudong saba leirakane na khali leiraktra su sigi matang da di leibiri ba administration leibiri ba leingak sinasu masida koi gi local elements in hapaya bagi posigi matang da achoba thawdang ama lobira na khalli maramdi tambi ba maktada akoina angang singda akoina local language da magi mother tongue hai mother tongue da larik tambi ba is aduna apikpa angang da mother tongue da larik tamda matam da problem ani ne ba thoise ahan bada language du ma muktamba language du matam kanda subject specific knowledge matamba aduna language do phajana khangdraga di subject specific knowledge do mapung phana foundational nga sai koina foundational literacy and the numeracy and pirisi akoi gi singda ukrul da tangkhul lon ngang ba mada aina maitai ron tambiru matamda maitai rona larik tambiru matamda maitai ron du khangda bana maram oidana nga sai gi foundational literacy and the numeracy se 100% piba ngamoy angang sing the failure kani aduna national education policy sina urisi mother tongue gi importance to phasana recognize tawra abanina overall curriculum semak pa matam dasu local element ki pot se soidana hena encourage tawra kani haibagi wakhalon amaka ai leijai karigumba moina specific oina sidagi han hapa yaroi haiba national gi policy la awawada tongan ba state sing dagi local elements sing hapa yana bagi demand soidana lakani aduna sigi matang dadi akoi gi state government hena aware oiraga leibigani haibagi ai wakhalon thamjage aroi by speaker na ngangbi khiba ngasai gi guidelines regarding age appropriate mainstreaming of identified out of school general hain hairi se ngasai phajana define to bigre akoi na khangjabada illiterate haibega non literate haibega se khede na khanjai illiterate hairaga na facilities leina larik tamba phangda basing se illiterate ni facilities phangda dana larik tamba phangda badi non literate ni I am computer illiterate computer gi facilities lei ai phajana haitram ai computer illiterate ne computer gi facilities lei taba anga amadi computer illiterate na te computer non literate ni aduna ngasai gi out of school children lai sida koi Chandra Kumar na yam phajana section ahum thongna koi gi group category ahum thongna khaido ga moi se kumai tawdana identify tawni kumai tawdana tracking tawgani haibagi port sing do thambi kre aduna organizer sing na su ngasi Kogi Larnet speakers, Larnet resource persons in Nangi, porting si Pazana recording, Tambirangani and a Kanjay, Aduga rapporters who they Rangani and a Kanjay rapporter and moising the Pazana, record Toxan Biraga, Masitagi Karamba, policy Siemba Yabagi, I would Siema Matunda, policy when a coin of Uraba Matunda Mado tax force that day, department concerns in the Kanaraga, public Tegi among Madugi, Kari Hagani Magi, suggestions. Adi observation mayamama invite or kaneba wafamsi lengsin biri bapunamaki mapamda nonglungna thamjabagaloina nangasi ahanba technical session si loire haidana moderator amoina yami mapamda khanganjari. Thank you all.
Thagachari ahanba session asigi moderator obikiba Professor W Nabakumar Singh loinana panelist oina lengsin bikiba expert pum namakpasu amukahana thagatpa phongdokchari. Akoi anisuba session asi haujadring da atenba lunch break mamatang mayam puna lomina kesi koi already tai program schedule di pungpham asi anisuba session gi pungpham oiraklabadi adubo koi gi mamangi function dagi sum thintarakpana khitang di koi matam na yanglaga koi na taple duna oza sing na waro biroi lunch break si 10 tak pa ohed si aduga amuka hanna auditorium si dalen sing biraktuna anisuba session asi mapungphahan minasi. Thank you. Lunch break si 15 minutes ki lunch break oigani aduga lunch si som auditorium dagi mapan thokpa matamda mayamna mapamdu thengnabiragani towards the other end of the auditorium ne. Thank you.
Actually my hometown is at Pakji. We will meet some.